Hey everybody, Pops here from ILWPOD, and it's Sunday again, November 2nd, and it's time to call up old Doc Brown, fire up the old flux capacitor, jump in the DeLorean and get it up to 88 miles an hour. We're going to go back in time for this day in wrestling history. So we're going to start out, we're going to go back to 1985, Saturday night's main event. It was broadcasted on November 2nd. I'm pretty sure it was pre-recorded. But it featured Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant versus King Kong Bundy and Big John Studd. This was a big deal, a big match. I can remember watching this as a child. It was very interesting, these giant men going at it. Hogan and Andre won by disqualification. The next 4 years later, 1989, November 2nd, WWF held a house show at the Rockford Metro Center in Rockford, Illinois, which is crazy because that's where I'm broadcasting from right now, right where I'm recording, so it's kind of close to the heart. We've seen some wrestling events at the Rockford Metro Center, and that night, we had Demolition Axe and Smash, the original version of Demolition, defeated Arn Anderson and Akeem to retain their WWF Tag Team titles. Now, at this time, this was the time where Tully Blanchard had failed a wellness policy violation and was let go. Arn was waiting on his contract to be up before he returned to WCW, so they paired him with Akeem the Dream. For quite some time, actually, for a month or so, he did quite a few matches with Akeem. Very interesting team there. You know, Akeem was also the one-man gang. Moving on along, November 2nd, 1991. The WWF does a house show. World Tag Team title match features the Legion of Doom, Hawk and Animal, versus the Natural Disasters, the Earthquake and Typhoon. At this house show, TV taping, the Legion of Doom, Hawk and Animal won by disqualification. They had a great feud with the Natural Disasters. They took the titles off of them, so it was a great feud. Later, in a different match, WWE Superstars of Wrestling taping, the same building, they won another match against Brian Costello and Peter Winks in a standard match, you know, squash match. LOD used to love the squash matches. So these were just some WWE TV tapings that went on during that time. Then we're moving on forward. We're going to go to November 2nd, 1998. Raw is War. And we get The Rock picking up a win by disqualification over Ken Shamrock, the human submission machine, the most dangerous man in the world, Ken Shamrock. There was a main event tag team match. D'Lo Brown and Mark Henry faced the Headbangers, Mosh and Thrasher, which it ended up in a no contest. And a lot of this action at this time, the Attitude Era, you would get a lot of no contest, a lot of false finishes, a lot of things like that. So this was a Russo era of booking, so I figure that's what that was. I've met Mosh and Thrasher, great guys. D'Lo Brown also, I've met him once. He's a great guy. Then we're going to go to another episode of SmackDown. It was also taped 2 days earlier. This is a very famous episode of SmackDown. This is during the Tough Enough era. So Kurt Angle first comes out and he does his little thing where he challenges the Tough Enough people and to a shoot fight. And he makes really short work of Chris Nowinski. Nowinski went on to do the CTE, concussion. He studies that and helps with the CTE. But he had a run. He was the Harvard graduate, the WWE's first Harvard graduate. And Kurt Angle made short work out of him. Next, Kurt was told, from what I've gathered, backstage, whatever you do, don't pick Daniel Puder, because Daniel Puder has some UFC mixed martial arts background experience. Well, Kurt Angle, being the Olympic gold medalist, greatest wrestler of all times, won an Olympic medal on a broken freaking neck, who, by the way, was also just released from the hospital, I think, not even cleared to be out there doing this. He immediately picks Puder because, Kurt thinks, who's this guy? So Puder instantly, Angle tries to shoot a single leg. Puder instantly gets him in the Kimura lock. Now, this could have went real disastrous because, this is kind of the same thing as the Brawl for All. It's a shoot fight, which, most people would say Kurt Angle could have whipped them all. But shoot fight, Kurt didn't think there was supposed to be submissions. He left himself open. Puder grabs the submission, either not knowing there was supposed to be submissions or just thinking, hey, look, here's my chance to make a name for myself. So this unknown talent who was on Tough Enough, won Tough Enough, beat The Miz in The Miz's Tough Enough year, and beat everybody and went on, had put Kurt Angle in this Kimura lock. But while he does it, he's laying on his back. Referee, I'm pretty sure it was Jimmy Cortez, realized what was going on, jumped down, made the 1, 2, 3 real quick, and got Kurt out of there. It could have been real bad because Daniel Puder was in a position to break Kurt's arm. Also on that show that night, Booker T defeats Orlando Jordan with JBL via disqualification. Rey Mysterio and RVD defeat Mark Jindrak and Luther Reigns. Booker T and Josh Matthews defeat JBL and Orlando Jordan. So, quite an exciting night. The whole Tough Enough thing was a great show. I enjoyed it a lot. I liked watching it. I think the only problem with it is you got these guys that are out there on Tough Enough. The fans see them, and then they have to get their in-ring training on live national TV pretty much. And so the fans wanted to see Daniel Puder or Chris Nowinski or The Miz out there, but they didn't know how to work. So when they got out there, they were exposed. So out of all of them, I think the only one that really took advantage was Miz and Morrison, both of them being Tough Enough contestants. I think they did really well, especially The Miz. The Miz has had an outstanding long WWE title or career, multiple championships, beat Cena at Mania, just great. So that was November 2nd, 2004. Moving right along, we're going to get to 2005 episode of Velocity. This is hard to verify that it happened on the 2nd of November, but I'm pretty sure it aired on the 2nd of November. It's hard to verify, but I'm just throwing that out there. It did have a wonderful, fantastic match that everybody always praises. It had a Chris Benoit, William Regal match. It was one of the best matches ever to be on Velocity. One of Benoit and Regal's best matches together ever, or separate. There was a dragon suplex spot that Benoit delivered to Regal that was outstanding. The match is remembered as one of the best matches between the two. Benoit come out victorious. On November 2nd, 2007, WWE Hall of Famer, the Fabulous Moolah, passed away. We want to, as always, shout out Fabulous Moolah. She died at 84 years old. And again, that was November 2nd, 2007. Also on that night We had a WWE SmackDown, which tag team match was Batista, the Animal, and the Undertaker going up against Great Khali and Mark Henry. Now, the Undertaker and Batista won by disqualification. And moving on. So moving on. 2009, November 2nd, Jamie Noble, on an episode of Monday Night Raw, Jamie Noble suffered a career-ending injury against Sheamus with a powerbomb on the concrete floor. Noble has since become one of the greatest agents for the company. Sheamus has went on. It sucks that Sheamus had to be the one this happened to, and it sucks that it had to end Noble's career. I was a big fan of Jamie Noble. Moving on, November 2nd, 2015, episode of Monday Night Raw aired. The main event was a traditional 5-on-5 Survivor Series elimination match, which featured Team Roman Reigns versus Team Seth Rollins. For Team Roman, you had Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, Ryback, and the Usos. For Team Rollins, you had Seth Rollins, team captain, Kevin Owens, The New Day, Big E, Kofi Kingston, and Xavier Woods. Unfortunately for Rollins' team, they couldn't pull it out, and Team Reigns won via disqualification. So that was 2017. Also, no, it was 2015. So next we're going to move on to 2017 for November 2nd, 2017. We had WWE World Tour in Dublin, Ireland. This was a big deal. We had Finn Balor defeating Samoa Joe. Asuka defeating Mickie James. That was an awesome match, I bet. Enzo defeats Kalisto to retain the Cruiserweight title. This is at the time when Enzo Amore was running wild in the Cruiserweight division. I loved it. Braun Strowman defeated Kane via DQ. The Miz defeats Matt Hardy and retains the Intercontinental title. The Shield, Ambrose, Rollins, and Triple H, this was a big deal, defeat the Wyatts. Bray Wyatt, Cesaro, and Sheamus. Now, this was the only time Triple H was a member of the Shield. It was a pretty cool, pretty big deal. I remember they did it with Angle, too. So it was pretty cool, pretty big deal. Pretty entertaining moment. 2018, WWE's first ever Crown Jewel pay-per-view took place in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. This was the one that we seen the return of Shawn Michaels. You know, everybody thought Shawn Michaels was going to come back. It was kind of hard for me, though, to see Shawn out there bald. Just, he didn't look quite like himself, perform like himself. I just didn't think the match was as good as it could be. I understand they was doing it for the Saudi Arabia government, but Undertaker and Kane, D-Generation X went over. So it was the Brothers of Destruction versus D-Generation X one last time. The next year, the Major League Wrestling, MLW, held its first ever pay-per-view on November 2nd. Saturday night super fight. The main event was a world championship match. Jacob Fatu defended his title against L.A. Park. And Jacob Fatu won and retained. Also, there was a great singles match. Teddy Hart came out victorious and defeated Austin Aries, which was a great technical match from what I can recall. Then moving on to the next day, 2021 episode of NXT November 2nd, 2021. The main event seen Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams go up against Johnny Gargano and Dexter Lumis. Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams come out victorious in this match. And folks, that's all we got for this day in wrestling history. I'm Pops here. As I said, it's great to come here and run through some of the history of wrestling with you guys. I enjoy it. Thank you as always. All praise to God. Thank you for your support.